Yay. So this Zoom, I've done so many Zooms in the last couple of days, is called, Are You Willing to Have Everything You Desire and Still Ask for More? Oh my goodness. And still ask for more? It's like, so yeah, I know. Say what? Are you allowed to ask for more? And this is to me, it's an interesting topic as well, because how many times do you create something greater and it's like you're sort of like allowed to create something that matches the best of this reality and people will approve of that? And it's like, that's okay. It's like you're not threatening, your friends or your family, etc., because you've created something great, but it's not phenomenal. So how many times have you created something great and people have been like, yay, and being happy that you are creating something great. And then the second you actually start to go beyond that, it's like there's this projection at you that's not what you should be doing. Have you ever been empowered to be able to ask for more? Because I know I wasn't empowered to ask for more. It was like, my mother actually said to me at one stage, haven't you got enough? I was like, what's enough? It's not like I'm like, so how many of you have decided that asking for more means being greedy? And everything at that is times a Godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, and shorts, boys and beyonds. So you are actually allowed to ask for more. And I remember seeing this movie many years ago, and they had this competition. It was a comedy, and they had a competition on the radio, and they said, we are putting it out there. Do you know what women want? So everyone was like ringing in and saying, this is what women want, and, blah, 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 and coming up with all these ideas. And they were like, nope, nobody won, because you know what it is? They just want more. And I was like, that's true. But how many times has it been projected at you that desiring and asking for more is wrong? It's not wrong. So everything at that is times a Godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, and shorts, boys and beyonds. And the first thing you need to get really clear on too is, what is it that you desire? It's like, what do you desire? So if you look at this with your whole entire life and living, what do you desire? What do you desire with money? What do you desire with your business? What do you desire with relationships? What do you desire with sex? What do you desire with where you live? What do you desire with parenting? All of this. What do you desire to have as your relationship with the earth? Because you have choice, you've always had choice. So everywhere that you've decided that you don't have choice, where you destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, and shorts, boys and beyonds. Oh, Victoria wants me to say the title again. Are you willing to have everything you desire and still ask for more? So lots happening here, kids. So first thing I would like you to do, and this is home play that you can take away from this call as well, is look at what you desire. I want you to write down at least 10 to 20 things of what it is that you desire to create as your life, because then you can start to live. Because how many of you are just trying to get the best of this reality or the mediocrity of this reality? What if you weren't trying to be the same as everyone else? And what if there was a different possibility available? Oh yeah, there is. So write down at least 10 to 20 things that you desire. If you've got 100, write down 100. Like, maybe do a list on your phone and just keep adding to it and keep adding to it. And then I want you to look at this and ask, okay, so what action would I need to take today to create this coming into my life? What action would I need to take to physically actualize everything that I'm asking for? And then everything that doesn't allow that to show up, destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, and shorts, boys and beyonds. And then what I want you to do is, if you have this written down somewhere, and for me, I've always got notes on my phone because it goes with my computer as well. And I can't read my handwriting. I should have been a doctor. Well, not should have been a doctor, but I could have been a doctor because I can't handwrite very well. No one can read it, including me. So do I desire to write better? Don't really care. It's like, I like that people can't read my writing. There you go, a little caveat. So, but write down everything that you desire or put it in your phone, and then set an alarm that once a month, maybe it's the first of the month, that it pings you to have a look at this list and see if you've actually created it, what questions you need to ask, or what else can I add to this list? Okay, you're allowed to ask for more. You are allowed to add to the list. Okay. So POC and POD, everything that doesn't allow this to show up, and POC and POD, all the distractor implants that you have that stop you from creating this, like all the places where you go to guilt or you go to blaming someone else that you can't have this. It's like whatever those distractor implants are, destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. So, because what I would like you to get to is the space where you can actually ask for a reality beyond this reality. Because like I said, it's like how many of you have been, creating the best of this reality. I mean, recently, I've been in a relationship with Brendan Watt for 8 years, and we had a great time. We had a great relationship. We have a great book out, Relationship, Are You Sure You Want One? That has some phenomenal tools in it if you actually desire to create a great relationship. And then we also chose to end the relationship. And it's like, and we chose to end the relationship too, because what we realized is we were creating the best of this reality. We started to create normal. And if you know me and you know Brendan, we don't really do normal. So it sort of started to have this like, this stranglehold on us. We were, we bought a beautiful block of land. We were building the perfect house. It's like, the perfect. So how many of you have decided that what you desire has to be perfect? And everything that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong. Wow, that's a lot of you. Everything that is right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. So what if you started functioning from these tools? Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, anybody else has this point of view. Being in total allowance of yourself. Like, stop judging you, okay? Total allowance of yourself and stop judging you and your choices. Not trying to figure out the right choice. Trust me, been there, done that, doesn't work out, doesn't create more. So stop trying to figure out the right choice and know that you're not wrong, okay? So if you have these 5 things, and then what I want you to start practicing is choosing based on the energy. So you're not going to right and wrong, you're not judging, you're being in allowance, you're being interesting point of view, you're not trying to please somebody else, you're literally choosing based on the energy. So it's not going into the linear mind map of like, well, if I do this, then this is going to happen, dun, 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 and you try and work it out. You try and head trip about it. You think about it too much rather than, okay, energetically, which choice is going to create something greater? If I choose this, where will my life be in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time? And something I've been playing with too is if I choose this, it's like, where will my life and where will the planet be in 1,000 years, in 25,000 years? Because what if, excuse me, every single choice you made creates a different possibility, not just for you, but also for the planet and everyone around you? Well, guess what? It does. So everywhere that you haven't been willing to wake up and actually perceive, know, being, receive the entirety of the world instead of just focusing on you and all the disasters that you've decided must occur, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. I forgot, I know you have telenovelas, and everywhere that you've decided that you must create your own telenovela and live that out, where you destroy and uncreate it. Good copy. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. And the thing is, if you are creating your own little telenovela, it's like you can do that and then go, God, what if I made some money from this? And then get over it. Okay? So, I mean, I think Brendan and I, we're coming to Mexico for a Relationship Done Different very soon. And we were doing the class together. I mean, we wrote this book, Relationship, Are You Sure You Want One? When we were together, and then we broke our relationship up, and then the book launched, which I thought was brilliant timing because the media were just like, oh my goodness, like this is crazy. So the media loved it. We've sold lots and lots of books. It is getting translated into Spanish. And then we broke up the relationship, and then a whole lot of other things occurred as well with both of us that, I was allowing myself to even go through this place of getting angry at certain things and then getting over it. So this is not about walking around going, I must be okay, I must be perfect at all moments, I must not react. And it's like, but ask, it's like, what action could I take here instead of reacting to something? And know that you can create something more. Okay. So what do you desire? And what more could you ask for? And everything at that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. So let's do this. So what I want you to do is, because there's a certain amount of energy that you've already tapped into to create what you have, okay? So what I want you to do right now is I want you to ask to tap into all of the energies that you have not yet tapped into. Really simple. It's not like a, oh my goodness, what do I have to do? Do I have to do it on a full moon or, you know, pat my head and rub my tummy at the same time? Nope, you just ask. So right now, all the energies that we have not been willing to tap into that will create more for us, can you please tap into them now and destroy and uncreate everything that doesn't allow you to receive that. Everything that is times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. Now, all of you control freaks out there, yes, every single one of you that went, oh, but hang on, what is that going to look like? What if I can't control this energy that I step into? Well, what energy, space, and consciousness can you be that would allow you to be the control freak you truly be? Yeah, I've run that a million times, and everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. And if you're a Latino woman, I think you especially have to run it, right? So what energy, space, and consciousness, trust me, I'm more of a control freak than anybody else. What energy, space, and consciousness can you be that would allow you to be the control freak that you truly be? And everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. So start looking at what is it that you would like to create as your reality, not somebody else's reality, not what somebody else is doing. I mean, I heard Dane here talking about happy on his Symphony of Possibilities class in Washington. And I thought it was such a great explanation, because if I say, you know, I'm really happy, and then, you know, Lauren says she's really happy, and Sylvia says she's really happy, and Betsy says she's really happy, it's going to be different happies. And my happy changes as well. So how many times, if you're like happy, or someone says they're happy, you try and identify with that happy rather than asking, what's my happy? Because I know my happy usually has such a sense of space and creation. Because for me, creation makes me happy. Creation is my happy, you know, and everything that is, I'll destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. Because you've got to be willing to ask for a reality of possibilities that you would like to receive. So what reality of possibilities would you like to receive? And everybody else's projections, expectations, separations, judgments, including your own, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. It's like how many of you fight to prove what you receive so you don't actually have to be. Because do you get that in order to receive, it's like, what are you willing to be? And everything that is times a godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. Wow. So how many of you are fighting to prove what you receive so you don't actually have to be? And everything that is times a godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. And everything that you've done, all the decisions that you've made, all the limitations and all the conclusions that you've gone to in order to never, ever, ever have a different reality, will you please destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. Someone's sharing their screen.
A ver, Maru, quitar tu pantalla, por favor.
So how many decisions, judgments, conclusions do you have that are destroying your tomorrow? Wow. Everything that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. Because if you try and work out your future, has that ever really worked out for you? You work out what's going to happen tomorrow. You work out what's going to happen next week. I mean, even if you look at the last time you went on a holiday or you went on a trip somewhere, hopefully to an access class, and you went, okay, maybe you booked a hotel, maybe, you know, you knew your flights, but did your trip ever end up the way you thought it was going to? Nope, never, ever, ever. But how many times do you already have these decisions and these judgments and these conclusions of what it's going to look like? So you actually destroy the possibilities that could show up. Like these possibilities are like, hello, hello, knock, knock, knock. Hey, we opened all these doors for you. And it's like whispering in your ear, these whispers of consciousness. And you're too busy going, nope, that's not what I had planned. Nope, it's not going to look like that. So la, 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 la. And it's like you had these blinders on. Guys, it's time to take the blinders off. It's time to start listening to the whispers of consciousness and the future that you could be creating with no judgment, being an allowance of you and being an interesting point of view and knowing that you have infinite choice. Everything that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. Makes me want to seal clap. So I'm going to run these processes. I'm just going to grab these. I'm going to put them in here. These are my... have I found them? I don't know where they've gone. Anyway, I'm going to do this one. What reality do you have beyond this reality that you never instituted because you were never told you could have it? And everything that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. I'm trying to get my screen back to... I don't know how to do it. Sorry. I don't know how to do it. I'm trying to get my screen back to full so I can put something in the chat.
So do you see your bar down underneath?
No, I don't have a bar down. Ever since whoever shared it, like it's just gone to one square.
Click ESC. Click escape on your keyboard.
Oh, on my computer?
Yeah. Or if it's gone to full screen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See, you learn something every day. Oh, someone sent me a private message. I'm not looking at any of the messages, guys. So if you send me a private message, you might want to ask out loud. So what reality do you have beyond this reality that you never instituted because you were never told you could have it? And everything that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. I don't know. And someone has sent me some private messages in Spanish. I wish I spoke Spanish, and I probably should speak Spanish. And I've brought all the stuff to learn. I even did a course with Sylvia and showed up to one class. And guess what? It didn't work. So, but I will try. I'm going to give it a shot. So what reality do you have beyond this reality that you never instituted because you were never told you could have it? So how many of you are trying to live the life and create the life that you were told that you can have? Because you can't actually create more than your family. It's like you can't create more than the people around you. And it's like you should be happy with what you have. Okay? Never ask for more. You should be happy with what you have. You've got food, you know, you've got food on the table, roof over your head. So be happy. Everything that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. What reality do you have beyond this reality that you never instituted because you were never told you could have it? I am now telling you you can have it, and you can even have something greater than that. So everything that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. So what reality and capacity that does not fit this reality are you avoiding in order to live as though you are subject to this reality? Because the thing is, how many times do you go to create something greater and you ask for something more, but it doesn't fit this reality? That's not what you're meant to have. I mean, you know, if you look at business, for example, it's like the amount of times that, you know, they go, well, you know what, takes a few years for a business to be successful. You know, I mean, there's even the rumor, it's like 7 years until you can actually start, you know, making money. It's like, that's whose point of view is that? And it's like, or you're meant to be with this person for a certain amount of time before you get married, because do you really know them? Whose point of view is that? It's like, how many choices are you making subject to this reality rather than actually choosing your reality? And everything that that is, times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. So what reality and capacity that does not fit this reality are you avoiding in order to live as though you are subject to this reality? And everything that that is, times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. So what would you like to create? So like, how many of you have these dreams of what you're like about you would like to create, and yet you've decided that you can't talk about it, you can't tell anyone because people are just going to think you're crazy? Guess what? They think you're crazy anyway. So why not just reach higher? And it's like, you know, cuckoo. And you could, you know, say that. Address what they are already projecting at you. You know, I'm so crazy for thinking I can actually do this, but I'm going to give it a shot because this is my life. And it's like, and I don't want to sit around here, you know, and be 80 years old and go, damn, I wish I could have done that. I'm going to do it now. So everything that that is, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. There was one, a few years ago, I went heli skiing in Colorado with Brendan, and I have been skiing since I was like 3 years old. I love skiing. And I've been talking about going heli skiing one day. Okay. So what's your one day? Because all the time, oh, I'm going to go heli skiing one day. I'm going to go heli skiing one day.
What is heli skiing?
Heli skiing. When you jump out of a helicopter at the top of a mountain where there's no tracks, and you literally jump out of the helicopter, put your skis on and ski down mountains that are so high up and there's no tracks and it's powder and it's just beautiful. So wow. Yeah, you know, the Coors beer is the mountains that are on that's the mountains that I went heli skiing on.
Wow.
America. And so, but we're sitting there one day in Colorado, and Brendan looks at me because the weather was beautiful. And he goes, why don't we go heli skiing tomorrow? And I was like, damn, I'm always talking about it and I haven't done it. And it was perfect weather, perfect conditions. And I was like, okay. So we went heli skiing, but I realized like how many other things in my life I was saying I was going to do one day rather than just choosing to do it. So how many things do you have in your life where you're like, you know, oh, I'm going to do that one day? I mean, Australia has this, used to have this campaign in London because Australia's, you know, quote unquote, far away from the rest of the world. They used to have this campaign in London, and it would be this huge big picture in the train stations of Sydney Harbour Bridge. And it would just say, one day I'll go. Because everyone always talks about, oh, one day I'll go to Australia. And it's like, so how many one day I'll create it, one day I'll go, one day I'll choose this, are you functioning from that if you didn't, you could actually choose it today and create a far happier, joyful, easier life and living? And everything that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. It's like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? I could have died heli skiing. All right, cool. You know what? I had fun. So everywhere that you've decided that you've got to save yourself from the worst possible thing that's going to happen, and usually it's about being judged, but you know what? It's like you judge yourself every single day anyway. You wake up with this litany of judgment. And it's like, so what are you concerned about? Other people judging you harsher than you do? And it's like, judgment's not real anyway. So everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, anyone have any questions?
There are two hands up. There, Carmen Díaz, ¿tienes pregunta? O Natalia. Se ven sus manitas.
Okay, so if you have a question, you can type it in the chat and the lovely Sylvia will translate it. I've got time for a few questions if you have them. If not, I can just keep talking. One of the things I always thought was, what if I have nothing to say? Which is very funny because if you know me, it's never really happened.
Simone, can you talk about when you ask the question, what would you like to create? Like, because I've heard you say that, you've asked me, and yet I think sometimes we think we have to go to the cognitive to like a solid conclusion of what that is. Can you talk also about that?
Yeah. Okay. So recently, so with my life, I've been looking at, I've been with Access. I've known Access Tools for 17 years now. And there's, Access is changing a great deal. It's like, if you don't know, Gary Douglas has been, he's been sick. He's had something you call shingles. But he's had a lot of it all across his back, under his arm, like all under his arm, across his chest. It's been quite full on, and it affects the nerve system. So he has been rather sick. So myself and Brendan had to jump up on stage and help Dan with the facilitators class, which was awesome. And definitely pushed me into something greater. And then we got to Paris for the advanced body class, and same thing. Gary said, I can't do this. You have to help. So he came in the morning, and then myself and Grace did the afternoon, and it was great. And now it's sort of like re-looking at all the schedule. But what I'm asking for is more consciousness to show up, more possibilities to show up. And at the moment, you cannot cognitize what that is. So what I've noticed is in Australia, I've created a better than most sort of living. I have a beautiful house that I live in. It's like I've got, a couple of investment properties, and I was definitely heading down this road of making this normal, like building this house with Brendan, etc. So we've actually got our property up for auction, the land on the beach. It's beautiful, private beach access. It's amazing. On the 27th of April. So if you can contribute to that selling, that would be amazing for a hell of a lot of money. That would be awesome. So I'm asking for 1.8. So everything that doesn't allow that show up, destroy and uncreate it on 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Thank you. So, but the thing is, with that, I could easily go, let's keep that land, let's build something, let's create something different here. And I'm like, where does the world require me? And what do I require of the world? So I'm actually playing with the energy too of not being an Australian resident, of basing myself in Europe, because I can. And it's like, but so how many times do you limit your choices based on your geographical region of where you chose to be born? And everything that is, times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. So if you have all possibilities available, then what would you choose? So there's nothing in and it's not like I have to do it today, and I'm not delaying or procrastinating. What I'm asking for is, what energy, space, and consciousness can I be that would allow me to have total clarity and ease with all of this and everything, and do that with anything that you're looking at, like, I'm not sure what to choose here. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. Because I'm looking at the energy that I would like is for every single person in the world to know that access consciousness exists so that they can choose it. They don't have to choose it. I get it. It might not be for everyone. But if they know it exists, then they can choose it. And to me, that is such a gift, because, man, I probably would have been dead by now if I hadn't found the access consciousness tools. I definitely would have been, I don't know, I don't even want to go down that road, So I would like everybody else to have that possibility as well. So if I look at the energy of that, what matches that? What choices do I need to make, and what can I actualize that would allow that to physically actualize today? So what else do I have to be? What else do I have to receive? And do you notice it sort of takes it out of, it's not just about me. It includes me. It includes where I choose to, hang my clothes in a wardrobe, because let's face it, that's basically all it is at the moment. It includes like the comfort of my living and the joy of my living and the adventure of my living. But I am not the main focus for me. It's like, what consciousness can I create on the planet? And everything, it doesn't allow that to show up, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. So let's do a 13 and change tracks. Now 13 is literally like, you know, being on a train, you pull the lever and you change tracks. It's not about saying everything's going to be better. It's literally you change tracks so that you allow something different to show up. You come out of the conclusions, you come out of the limitations that you're creating as your reality so far. So let's do a 13 and contribute to each other and change tracks, okay? So everything that is and everything that doesn't allow us to change tracks on 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13. Nice. I just realized, you're up late or up early. if you're in.
Oh, there's a couple of questions
Sylvia?
here. One, and I think you just answered it, and it came in through a private message. It says, how do I begin to create the reality I truly desire? And what else is possible? We're in the middle of work that I don't like, or a job I don't like.
Choose something different. You know what? It's like, what if you decided, you know, cannot occur by you choosing something different? Because the thing is, it's like you're going, oh, well, I've got to work it out first. I've got to, you know, figure out what I'm going to do next. You've got to give yourself the space as well. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? It's like, you know, it's choose something different. If you don't like it, leave. I never understood why anyone did any work that they didn't enjoy. You'll always create something greater. Always, always, always. You always have. You always will. It may not look like that at the time. It may be like, you know, devastation in your own telenovela, and then you'll always, something always will show up greater. So these are the processes that I was looking for, which sort of matches the energy of this. So let's run these, and I'll put them in the thread. I know they're in English, but hey. I love these processes for Beyond This Reality, because that's what you're asking for, is to create Beyond This Reality. So what reality beyond this reality can you be that you refuse to be as though you are stuck in this reality? And everything at that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. And what reality beyond this reality are you choosing not to be, that if you chose to be it, would create a reality beyond this reality with total ease? And everything at that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. And what energy, space and consciousness can you be that would allow you to create a reality beyond this reality with total ease? And everything at that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. I would put those on a loop. Like I have an app on my phone. It's called Voice Loop, and quite often I'll just put processes like that on a loop and play them all through the night. They don't need to be loud. You can put them down really, you know, silent, or you know, put your phone in another room or whatever it needs. It'll still work. You'll still receive all of these processes. And every time I do that, I always wake up and I'm like, oh, it's like there's this sense of space. Because you've got to create that sense of space to create a reality beyond what you're currently creating, which is this reality. So, I mean, you're awesome. On Sorry. Here. But, yeah, you're on here. So you came on the Zoom, and it's like you're obviously asking for something more. And it's like, what if you asked for even more? Like ask for beyond that, okay? I give you permission. Blame me. You got to blame someone, blame me. I give you permission. Choose something more. And even if you start every day, okay, if I was choosing something more today, what would that be? It's like, do something that's outside your comfort zone. Like how many of you are trying to be comfortable with what you're choosing as your life rather than be like, oh, okay, I'm going to choose this. It's like, you know, live your life as an adventure.
Hey, Simone.
Yes.
We do have a question from Eileen. She's wondering if there's any clearings for the interesting point of view of not actually knowing what it is she desires. She goes blank when she tries to make that list.
Okay, so the process I ran before, which is one of my go-to processes, if there's anything that I'm always, so say you get this list, right? Or if I'm, I don't know, looking at making some choice and I'm like, oh, I'm not sure, because so many of us go to our head and we go to, oh, I've got to work it out, or let's look at, this reality would say the pros and the cons, or think about it, etc. None of that ever, ever, ever gets you anywhere. So the process I use a lot is, what energy, space, and consciousness can I be that will allow me to have total clarity and ease with all of this? And then put your attention on that list, and everything that is right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Like, I've been looking at writing another book about business. And yesterday, I actually went for a jog, and I was like, you know what, maybe I won't write this book. Maybe there's a different book. And as I was jogging, this whole idea, I had to stop and get my phone because all these ideas showed up. So the second that I was like, nah, I don't think I'll write this book, I was like, oh, I've got an idea. It's brilliant. Like, and started writing all these ideas of how I would like this new business book to be. So I'm going to tell you, because I want to talk about all the things that people function from because they had this as a limitation, but show them the other possibility. I might be crazy that they're actually going to get it, and so I wrote this whole list, and that's what I want to start with. So, but I was willing to not do it. But I quite often run that. So what energy, space, and consciousness can I be that would allow me to have total clarity and ease with all of this? And everything that is right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Could even say with this list instead of this. Cool. Any other questions? And listen to this Zoom again, guys, because I actually gave out some really cool tools for you to use to start creating something different. I would love it if you came along to the Relationship Done Different class. I'm also doing an evening class in Mexico for business, to entice you, to invite you, to empower you to come along to the Business Done Different class, which will be a little later. And I'm sure we'll send out the dates, etc., for everything. And you don't have to choose it. It's like, you can get a lot of tools out of this and choose to change your life today. It's like, to me, you can use one tool, one question, and start to change something. But if that's working, then what else is possible? Because there's so much more available. It's like, what if what you already know is just the tip of the iceberg of what you could receive? What if there was something far greater available that you have not yet been willing to acknowledge? And if you did acknowledge it, could change everything. Could mean you could wake up happy every day, not just like half a day. And everything that is times a godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Cool. So if there's no more questions, I think we'll call it a Zoom, fade to black. And so I'm very, very grateful to all of you. And I think you can share this with anyone. I think so. So we'll send you out the link. I'm sure Sylvia and Alba and Claudia and all of them will deliver whatever you need.
There is one more question, Gabriela. Sure. ¿Quieres hacer la pregunta en inglés? En voz alta? A ver, trying to find her. She wrote it in English, so I don't know if she wants to do it in English. I mean, she wrote the question or said she had a question.
Hi, Simone.
Hi.
Oh,
hi, this is Nelson.
Hi.
Well, I have a situation in my life. Well, I'm a petroleum engineer, and I finished a master's degree. And for me, it has been really hard to get a good job. I mean, a job that I get my dreams.
Okay. So why don't you start with this? Because when you say, because it's interesting, because when you talk, the energy on good job and a job where you get your dreams. So destroy and uncreate everything that is, because you've already defined what a good job is, right? So
okay.
Everything that is, times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. This is a little bit like what I was talking about at the beginning of the Zoom, is if you come out of judgment, you're in allowance, you're being interesting point of view, you're not trying to get it right, like what you've defined as a good job, okay, and you're not wrong, and then you choose based on the energy. And let me tell you a quick story and then give you a tool. I was working with a girl in New Zealand once, and she wanted to work in the film industry. And I was like, okay, and we were pretty much like using these tools. It's like follow, choose based on the energy. Don't choose based on right or wrong. Choose based on the energy. So she said she got offered a job in and I don't know if you remember the video stores, like this was years ago, where you rent videos. And she got offered a job at this video store. There's someone at my door, which is really funny. Can you hang on 1 second?
Sure.
So, okay, someone's at the door. Okay, good, got it sorted. So anyway, she got offered this job at a video store, and she was like, it feels good. And she was like, but that's definitely not, like following the dream. And it's like living the dream. And I was like, okay, so what if you took the job and take it for 3 months, see what shows up? So she did take the job, and what ended up occurring, which is so random, and that's the thing, if you define what something has to look like, then you will not receive the random possibilities that could show up. So what occurred was a local producer in New Zealand, it was his local video shop. So he would go in there and he'd rent a movie, etc., and then start, chatting to her about the movies and all of that. And okay, would start chat. Sorry, the guy who's fixed the oven, of course he is. So he would start chatting to her about the movies, etc., and she ended up going to work for him after a couple of months. But you could never have planned how she could meet this guy because he was quite a big producer in New Zealand. So what if you followed the energy, and what if you asked and get show the universe what energy it is you would like to have as your job, what it is that you would like, ask, write down, what is it you'd like to be creating? How much money would you like to earn a month? It's like, don't be shy to ask for what it is you desire, and write down the energy of that, but don't make it definable, like that you can only have this. And it's like, rather than the energy of what it is that you would like to invite, and then pull energy into what it is that you're asking to show up from everywhere, not just the region, also the geographical region that you've decided that you have to work in, because you never know, there might be another possibility. Pull massive amounts of energy into that, and then let little trickles go out to every single person that's looking for someone like you that would be brilliant for you to show up in the workplace. And then ask, what energy, space, and consciousness can I be that would allow, the job beyond my dreams to show up with ease, joy, and glory, and everything that is right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. But you also have to be really willing to have a look at every single time you go to this place of doubt, pock and pot all the distractory implants, and it's like pock and pot everywhere that I uninvited the best job in the world today, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Pock and pot everything that I thought I was yesterday, all the decisions I have about yesterday, and all the decisions I have about tomorrow, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds, and do a 13, okay? Every morning. If you run these tools and do a 13, and it's like, ask, because the universe will contribute to you. It just does not look like you think it's going to look like. And if you define it the way you think it's going to look like, then you're functioning from this reality, not beyond this reality.
Okay, thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Cool. Okay, I've got to head off because I've got a radio show to go to. So, but thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, translators. You guys rock. And Simone Milasas dazzle, and all of you guys who organized this. And I'll see, hopefully, all of you in Mexico very, very soon. So thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Simone.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Adios.
in Mexico. Woo!
Gracias.
Ciao,
Gracias.
Adios.
Gracias.
Ciao.
Gracias.